Hello, everyone. It is me, Haley, from the Black Ribbon, but also a weird kimono enthusiast. How are you guys doing today? I was asked if I could give a quick panel today on summer kimono. I titled it really weirdly because I was like really tired and it was like 2 a.m. But really what we're going to talk about in general is summer wafuku. Hey, I know you too. Wafuku is just the word that literally means Japanese clothing. So it means any Japanese traditional clothing. So we're going to dive right into it so that I have time to do a demonstration at the end. So there are 3 main types of what people think of as summer kimono, also known as usumono or natsumono. Usumono meaning like kind of means thin clothing or like thin things, and then natsumono means summer things. So here we go. The first is a jinbei, which I will show you a picture of. I'm actually wearing a jinbei top right now. Yukata, and we'll go over some undergarments you wear under them, and also the obi that are appropriate for them, and kimono in general, and the undergarments and obi that are appropriate for those. So let's move on. Jinbei are very, very casual, very easy to wear, low entry, varied entry clothing. You see them a lot for kids and men. You don't really see them very much for women. And I try to keep it fairly gender neutral in this case for all of this stuff, because obviously women can wear things too. So it's kind of a more masculine style. I love them, but you don't see them very much in very feminine prints or anything, except for the ones for the little kids, which are just stinking adorable. I love them. They're typically worn to festivals or as like casual around the house, wherever. Sometimes guys go out in them in the summer, but you don't really see women on the street wearing them too often. They are considered like the most casual of casual wear. So there's a huge thing if you're wearing kimono that is very important about like the time, place, and the occasion for when you're wearing different types of kimono. So this would be a very, very casual thing. Totally could wear to a festival, wear it out. I specifically did a very like simple, less like fussy clothes specifically for this, because I know this is a Texas-based event and I know how it be in Texas. Right now we're having a little Texas weather. It was 105 where I was yesterday. So I totally understand the need to dress for the weather. So I tried to pick less fussy outfits specifically for this panel for you guys. So jinbei, super comfortable, super easy to wear. It's a little short set, and then the top just like a little quick wrap top. And this fabric is actually kind of sheer, so I would totally wear like a nude color bra if you're going to do it as a femme person. But yeah, comfy as heck. Do recommend. Comes with pockets, you know. So it's a nice little easy halfway place. Next up, before we get into kimono versus yukata, I know a lot of people always ask this question: is that a kimono? Is that a yukata? Even I was dressed in kimono the other weekend with my friend, and some guy just came up to me and asked me that: is that a kimono? Is that a yukata? So just to specify, a yukata is a type of kimono with very few specific features, and it's always worn in a casual or informal manner. Yukata always have a single width collar, and I will show you a double width collar versus a single width collar. I have examples. At least I hope I have examples. I pulled out all of my summer kimono for this. So let's see. Yes. Okay. So this is a kimono, not a yukata. You can see this is the collar, and it has like a little tiny, if you look very carefully, there's a snap here, and you fold it over when you get dressed. Not all kimono have a full width collar. Some do have a half width collar, which this is kind of a weird hybrid kimono / yukata. There are some weird in-betweeners, and this is one of them. But as you can see, this is unlined, and it has a single width collar that you don't have to fold in half. So that's one of the dead giveaways, is if your thing has a full width collar, it's definitely kimono. Yukatas are always made out of either cotton, poly, sometimes hemp, or rayon. I think it's interesting, in Japan, the word for like rayon and hemp is the same, so it's hard for you to know exactly what it's made out of. And they're always unlined. Kimono can be made out of any of those fibers, but also are sometimes made out of silk or wool, and they can be lined. As you saw, even that summer kimono had a bit of a lining in like the collar and a few other places. But that's you'll never see that in yukata. They're never lined. They're just a single layer of fabric. Yukata are always informal, casual wear. You can wear them around the house. You can wear them going out to a festival. You can wear them like just like walking out running errands. But kimono have a full range of formality, from like, you know, going out, just hanging out, all the way up to a very, very formal black tie. I have one black tie version. I didn't pull it out because it's like an antique and it's kind of damaged, but they do exist. So all the full range. So these are yukata. They come in both mask and femme styles. They're usually for casual. Most people wear them at festivals, matsuri. So this is, you know, if you're wearing one to like a Japanese festival that you have in your area, you're wearing the perfect thing. Usually worn with like less dressing accessories and are always worn with the least formal types of obis, which we'll cover in a second. There's a lot of accessories for women. For men, there's usually just the shoes, the obi, and sometimes they have a bag too. And for the women, she happens to be using what's called an obi jime, which is a tie that goes on top of your obi, which I will show one style of when we get to the dressing demonstration. But you don't need it. You can just tie without it, and I will show one of each way. So, yeah, pretty casual. Maybe a little hair accessory back here, but generally speaking, trying to keep it really, really informal and really chill. These are the under things that you would wear under yukata if you're doing like traditional clothing. So they don't usually have a collar that shows underneath. You can also wear PJs and like kind of pajama pants. I'm wearing those when we switched to the dressing demonstration. Like I said, I tried to pick stuff that was like the least fussy for you guys. So I'm just wearing an undershirt or like a tank top and a pair of sleeping pants because they're like nice and lightweight and they're like smooth. Don't get something like flannel, that would be the worst. But something like very lightweight and like smooth and silky that the fabric that is on top can like move against easily. That's my recommendation. If you don't want to go buy these garments, they're not required. You don't have to wear these. But what's really important is if you have a femme body type, that you try and smush out and flatten the boobs as much as possible, because the perfect body type for kimono is like a tube. And there's all sorts of padding stuff that you can do to either pad out underneath the bust so that's a flatter, smoother surface. Also on the back, there's a little pad that you put above your butt to give that like a nice transition. You don't want to have a badonk. I know, hard to believe. But these clothes don't have any darts or any like round shaping at all. So it's really important to have things hanging properly to pad yourself out. If you're wearing it casually, you don't need to do this. I don't very often pad myself. There's a couple of pieces I own that look really dumpy if I don't, so I make sure I do for those. But generally speaking, the easiest and most basic thing you definitely should do is definitely strap the girls down as best you can. If you have a binder, even better, but if you don't, just a basic sports bra that flattens you out as much as possible is a highly recommended thing. These are the most informal, casual types of obi. You can wear them with casual summer kimono as well. And these are the femme styles first, and then we're gonna do the mask styles second. The heko obi is a very soft, light single layer of fabric. Can be tied in fun bows, but can be just a tied in like a simple sash bow. So if you're new to kimono, this is a really easy way to do it. You literally just tie like a bow. It's fine. The other one is a hanhaba obi, which means half width. Full width obi is like literally twice as wide. They usually come in fun prints. They don't usually have a lot of metallic. The more metallic something is, the more formal it's considered. You will see some that have metallic stuff on them. And those are specifically usually for things like obon or other performances that are done in the summer dances. And it's usually for dancers because, you know, they're the center of attention. They can be a little flashier. That doesn't mean you can't wear them. It's just, you know, if you're wondering, I thought these were both informal, but they're also shiny. And I thought shiny stuff was formal. That's what that's about. They're usually, yes, still worn with yukata, but they are for performance pieces, and the performance stuff is always pretty flashy. Next. These are the types of obi for mask styles. Now the kaku obi is just the basic standard mask obi for like all formality levels. They don't usually get, more or less formal for guys. Unfortunately, it's not a wide range. Usually the kimono or yukata itself is the kind of indicator of how formal something is. There are heko obis for men. This is an example of both one tied and just one laying flat. They do exist. They are, very easy to tie. Just tie in a bow. Bam, you're done. So again, very easy entry level if you are not used to the weird, ties that are complicated and maybe hard to remember. You have to YouTube every time. I would suggest you start with a nice heko obi because it's very simple and very easy and very comfortable. But yeah, them's is the obis you can wear with a yukata. You would look a little strange if you wore something like a nagoya, which is kind of the most normal, common type of obi for kimono, or a fukuro obi. You would actually look very weird in, which is the most formal kind of obi. Well, not the most. It's one of the more formal type, and the most formal would be a maru obi, which you would look absurd in. So there is a very big thing about matching, not just the seasonality of the garments you're wearing, but also the formality level. So like all of that's very important for kimono. Next. Okay. So these are examples of summer kimono, or they're also called natsumono or usumono, or other words for them. They are made generally of sheer fabrics, and they should be worn with proper undergarments. Otherwise, I must see straight through them. The formality of the obi should match the kimono. So in this case, the women's kimono that I have pictured here, this is like a slightly formal, like a little bit formal kimono. It only has a print on the hem and the sleeve versus an all-over print. You could wear this as like an attendee to like a summertime tea ceremony. This would be a very appropriate outfit for that. The men's outfit is also a semi-formal outfit. In the summer, you really don't see a lot of guys wearing kimonos, so it was actually really hard to find an example. So this particular outfit could probably be dressed up or dressed down quite a bit, have a full range because it's so rare to have this piece. It's really easy to dress this up and dress it down. There's actually not a ton of summer kimono out there because it's such a narrow, small window of time that you would really wear things for like this hot. But I know that in the South, that's not true. You would wear this a lot longer. So it is hard to shop for though. And you really should be if you're shopping for this kind of clothing, you should be shopping for it right now. Like they don't put it out any other time of year. Sometimes I'll be looking like, oh, I just thought I'd fill out my wardrobe ahead of the season. It's really hard to find these kimono pieces. You can always find yukata year round because you can kind of wear them like to festivals almost any time of year as long as it's like warm enough. But summer kimono specifically, you cannot find any other time of year than summer, and they just don't have a lot of it. So if this is something you're interested in, like if you're interested in doing tea ceremony, it's hot where you live, now's the time to shop. They can come in polyester. The polyester ones are all washable, but they don't breathe very well. The silk ones have to be dry cleaned, so that's a choice you have to make. Or you might be able to find, I have the yukata that I'm going to try on for you guys and show you how to dress in is a one that you could wear as a kimono. You could always wear yukata like a kimono by wearing an undergarment that has a collar on it. And in wearing the proper and formality of obi. The one I have has like an all-over print, so that makes it makes it pretty casual, especially as a big all-over print. But it has a sheer print, like it's sheer like this, but it is technically a yukata. So they do exist. You can find ones that kind of meet the halfway point. Like I said, there's some weird hybrids. So you could find one with like a print just on the bottom made out of like a cotton linen, and you would consider probably more of a kimono. Anyways, I digress. Here we go. Summer undergarments are also sheer often, but usually by the amount of layers up you're building up, usually you can't see through them. And sometimes the undergarments are patterned, so they show through the sheer layers. So there's a very, very sheer fabric called sha. It's like as sheer as organza or chiffon. And sometimes you'll wear a patterned undergarment that'll show through, and that's a really cool look. They also come in two-piece varieties, and sometimes the male version is like a t-shirt and shorts combo. So here's some examples. This is a patterned one. This is just a plain femme version. This is a mask version. As you can see, this is still sheer, but by the time you add another layer on top, you won't be able to see through it. And also, there's a lot more coverage right in the center front because you have so many like overlapping layers where all the collars overlap. So definitely you're not going to see anything like this, middle area. So it's fine. This is a printed pattern women's one. And you might wonder like how you can tell that that's not a kimono. Especially for women's kimono are longer than you would wear it. And they always have a contrast plain collar. It can be either like white. For men, it's usually like a dark color like the shirt here is. So like that's how you can always tell like, oh, this is an undergarment. The women's ones are shorter and always have a white collar. The men's ones can be like printed, but they'll almost always have a dark collar. And these are some summer obi. I love this one. It's one of my favorites. I don't own it. I wish I did. They're also made out of like single layer fabrics, or they're sheer, or they're like this. They're like a really stiff but wide open weave. This one is lined with a white, not a line, but an interfacing layer, and it's black sheer on the outside. And this one I think is just a single layer. It is just like a very thin fabric. And this one's clearly like single layer. So these two are semi-formal. This is a formal one. What makes it formal? This one has some metallic on it. Neither of these two do. You couldn't wear this to like you could maybe wear this to like a wedding reception. Black's as a weird color though, but like in terms of formality level, you could get away with it. And these are all tied in what's called an otaiko knot or musubi, and it is the like go-to standard formal every day. You can wear it for every occasion knot. I suck at tying it and don't like to do it. But this is like the go-to knot for everybody. I'm just really bad at it because I don't own a lot of Nagoya obi. I dress casually. If I'm going to go anywhere, I'm just going to hang out and be chill. I don't do tea ceremony and stuff like that, so I don't have a lot of formal clothes. So I'm really bad at this, and every time I have to do this tie, I have to watch video. So confessions. Oh, is that the end of my thing? Oh no, I was like, I think it's the end of the thing. So we're going to get into dressing in just a second. Just really quick, is there any basic questions that you guys have? Now would be a good time before I swap the camera angle over and go into dressing. I'm going to start with a men's kimono because they're like the easiest to put on. This is a men's yukata, just so you guys have a real quick like mask versus femme. And if we have time, I'll do a kimono, but I'm going to do yukata first because I think that's what most of you probably are going to get into in terms of entry level. Easy, not complicated to know what to do and how to dress. So quick time to ask questions. I'm not seeing anything, and I'm going to open the chat in my phone because I need to be ready to be not in this room. Okay. I'm going to jump over, do a quick demonstration on how to dress both mask and femme styles, guys. So I'm going to stop sharing this. Hello, close up, look at my my mess. And I'm going to switch cameras. I think it's this one. Yes, okay, 1 second. I gotta switch the audio as well. It's the wrong way. right. Hello. Like I said, tank top, sleepy pants. I recommend going for the ones that are kind of capri length or even knee length or shorter. I kind of like capri length the best, personally. This is a mess because I was trying to make sure that I knew how to do a men's obi on myself. I don't often dress myself in men's style. So I'm going to roll this back up really quick. Oh, I should roll it the other way. So just specifically, this is called a kaku obi, which is this really narrow men's style. When you're storing them, I think rolled is the easiest way because of the way you put it on your body. So if you dress in a masculine style or own a men's yukata, that's my pro tip to you. I should have re-rolled this before. I'm sorry. I have a lot of small parts running around here. Okay. There we go. All right. So this is my, we call these like tourist pieces. How can you tell it's not a real men's yukata? And how can you tell it's a tourist piece? It has belt loops, so you can wear it like a bathrobe. That's fine. Also, men's yukata typically are closed in the sleeve. They might even be attached to the body. This has like a woman's style sleeve, but it's the length of a men's. So I'm gonna wear it. Like, I wear this piece every once in a while, but it's not a real yukata. It's one of those bathrobe pieces. All right, I'm gonna grab Koshihimo, which is just, oh, I have the matching one. I'll wear the matching one. A Koshihimo just means, so koshi is your hip butt area in Japanese. And a himo just means like a tie. So koshihimo is a tie that goes around your butt, your waist. So you want to match your collars up, make sure they're kind of even. I'll get a little bit uneven there. Okay. And the other thing you want to do is to, like, first of all, it's left over right? So you want to make sure you want to go all, have it nicely over. So if it, like, let's say it only came to here because you're even, you want to like readjust and go, that would cover me better. Okay, so you now know how short you have to go on this side to make sure this side is nicely covered. So we know that and that. Nice and easy. For mask styles, you don't have to worry about shortening them at all, which is kind of a challenge you have to go through for women, which we'll go through in a second for fun styles. You just like hold the fabric against your body, and I'm gonna do this in like a slightly chubby manner, which is fine. It's really funny to dress for your body type for mask styles. If you have a little paunch, it's fine if you do, and lots of us do. You put the obi below the paunch and kind of angle it towards the back above your butt, because men's styles don't pad at all. They don't care as much. It's okay. So it's more comfortable to have that kind of angled up. If you're really, really skinny, like stick style, then you just put it all kind of like around your hip butt area. Okay. So start out and you're going to fold the end that you're going to start rolling around. So the fold side always goes up, the open side goes down. And I always put it like just as far over as my hip. And start going around yourself. You're just covering up that koshihimo. And you might have to tuck the koshihimo in. I think I need to. You can see it peeking out down there. Hello, goodbye. And you're going to have this guy's still going to be loose. And you're going to go around yourself as many times as you need to. It's either 2 or 3, depending on how big you are, how big the obi is. All right. You're going to bring this guy to the center. And you want to grab the bottommost layer, if you can find it, of the actual obi, not your koshihimo. Grab it just underneath. And then you can pull this tight. So you don't lose anything. All right. And then the next thing you're going to do put that guy on the bottom. I'm gonna even this guy out. So this is still a little long, right? It's still too long to really tie a knot. I'm gonna shorten this guy up by doing this little number. Now, key thing to remember is it's fat end over skinny end, just to tie a knot, basic knot. And then you're gonna do this like little triangle fold situation here. And then you're gonna bring this guy and just thread him through this little triangle that you made. Boop. And that is your men's basic knot that almost all guys wear. This is the most standard knot. This is not the one you would wear under hakama, but this is like your everyday going out knot. It's called the clam's mouth. If you're trying to Google it, you might just look up haku obi musubi. When you want to turn it to the back, this is again how to dress yourself, not dressing somebody else. You always go with the left collar, so you're not like undoing. Like if I go this way, I'm going to undo this, right? That makes sense. I'm going to go this way. And you just turn it. And oh, you're there as a mask style dresser. Pretty simple, very effortless. Half the work that it is to get dressed as a femme person. Hope that was followable for you. Diner's a friend of mine who wears kimono with me sometimes, and we recently got dressed, and I just like want to know, see, I can even dress myself, okay, as a dude. Why can't you figure that out? So anyways, I will re-roll this later, but that is how to dress in a men's style. I'm just gonna get this off the floor. All right, now I'm gonna switch over to a femme style. Alrighty, it's a little bit more complicated. And usually I wear an undergarment that has like the ability to pull the collar down, because like a really important thing in dressing in femme style is you want to show a little neck back here, because apparently that's supposed to be like an attractive place on a woman, whatever. I did want to show you this really quick. So this goes under the obi when we get to that part. We won't get there for a minute. There is a summer version, as you can see, it's sheer and breathable, and a normal version. So I like that there's like sheer summer versions for every little piece of this almost. Like all of your dressing stuff has like a summer version, because it gets hot in Japan, hot and humid too. So they do try, even though it's still warm, they do have some little bits and pieces to try and help. That, and I need my obi. Okay, sorry, you see my big butt sticking in there. All right, my obi. This is a hanhaba that I'm going to show you how to do. I'm going to do some really easy ones for you guys, because again, I know there's a huge barrier to entry with how difficult it can be to dress in kimono. So we're going to get started. All right. So again, take out your kimono or your yukata. And you can see this is semi-sheer. You can see the seams. Do the same thing with lining up your collars. On the femme style, there's always like a little half collar situation here. You can see there's a seam here. That's kind of an easier place to line up than having to go all the way to the bottom. Okay, and then you want to, at this point in time, because women's styles tend to be longer, you can't see it, but it's dragging on the floor. So I'm going to use this moment to, while I'm holding this and it's like against my body taut, get the length adjusted properly. Make sure I step back a little bit so you can see as much as possible. So now this is like the appropriate length for me. And now we're going to do that same thing with like how wide do I want it? Again, left goes over right, so you go, that's wide enough. So I don't have to do adjustment. But again, if like this was like really too narrow for me, I again would like scooch it over. But this is actually quite fine for me.
Boop, boop. All right. Now, that's a little even. And this fabric sticking to me. I mean, that's good, but now, I'm going to show this with the Koshi Kimo. Am I? Actually, I'm going to show you a slightly different thing. Wow, man down. This is an elastic Koshi Himo. Same thing, but it's stretchy so that when you're moving around, trying to live your life, it flexes with you and is much more comfortable. So I'm just showing this instead because this is what I usually use and usually wear. And it just has a little hook. I'm going to get closer so you guys can maybe see that. It's literally just a piece of elastic with a swimwear kind of style hook. So yeah, it's just a piece of elastic, so it holds, but it's, you know, a lot more flexible. You can move with it a lot better. So, and now you just gently fold over. This is a very stiff fabric, so I can do this versus like if it's a much more soft drapey fabric, it kind of just falls in place. But and you can also for women's style you got your little arm slit, stick your hand in here, smooth things out. Oh, that's yeah. So I got like this part on here was like tucked under itself. So yeah, you're like, oh, I feel that. That feels weird. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is, yeah, crows or ravens. I love them. All right, that's good. Now again, I told you you want to have your neck showing for women's style. So now is the point in time where I'm gonna like gently look in the mirror and scooch this back. It's not gonna stay because I don't have anything holding it there, but I'm gonna try. It never stays. If you're wearing an undergarment, they have undergarments that and you can also put like a little loop in your actual back seam that you thread something through. And I'm gonna show you. This is called a Corin belt for women. They don't really do this for men because you have to cover it up with the obi. I put this just about like under bust height, clip it, goes through, and if I had, they have versions that if you have a loop inside, it goes around twice. This one only goes around once. What is the purpose of this demon creation, you ask? And it just has like kind of suspender clips. It keeps your collars closed. And I'm adjusting, like I said, to make sure my neck is supposed to be showing. I'm trying. So this is like riding up a little bit, so I'm adjusting as I go. Hello, come back. Keeps your collars closed, and honestly, like, if this is like getting open, then your collar in the back can't stay like nicely pulled back. It keeps like coming forward with this is going on. So having your collar close in front and keeping it closed helps you keep some space in the back of your neck. So it's one of my favorite dressing aids if you can find one. Number one favorite thing. It's called a Corin belt, Korin. Definitely one of my number one recommendations of getting a simple thing. Yes. So I was like, where did I put the thing? And like I said, I'm very comfortable right now because everything is elastic. If you're using a Koshi Himo, because that's what your thing came with, totally understand, super easy, but it's very, very uncomfortable to have to tie that stuff snug. So I understand that it's not everyone's favorite. This is called a Datejime. You can also find ones that tie. Again, I love the elastic. This is just literally one giant piece of Velcro. Bam. Huge fan of that. And I would be ready to put my obi on. I usually put this guy under my Datejime. And this just keeps your obi front smooth. So like when you bend over, sit down, whatever, it doesn't get all crinkly. So there you go. Got a little space back here. Again, I can't get as much as I can if I'm wearing the proper undergarments. And there's other videos, and I'll link some later on like the perfect way to achieve that. But you want to have like essentially enough room to put your fist. Is what they say. This is a little tight, but I tried. Hashtag I tried. So you're ready to put your obi on. This is the part a lot of people struggle with. here is my Hanhaba Obi. And today I'm going to show you what's called a no masubi, which means no knot style, real quick first, because I think it will take a lot of the stress out of it for people. You keep it folded in half this way. As you can see, it could be twice as long, but we're going to do it in half. If you're a larger person, though, you might consider doing the whole width. I don't think you need to, the whole length. Come behind yourself. Put that guy kind of, you might have to adjust where you end up putting this. This guy kind of maybe like close to the side seam. Grab from the bottom. Wrap around. You have to get your sleeves out of here because I'm sure I've caught mine. Hello. I feel weird things happening back here. Yeah, this got twisted. Please untwist yourself. There you go. Okay. You're just literally wrapping around yourself twice. That's it. That's all there was to that. I'm going to like turn this and slightly adjust where it sits. Gonna again grab that bottommost layer so I can snug it tight. And that you can use a tie. I have this one that just again has like that swimsuit style hook and a slider. This is again called an obijime. Should do this. I'm like trying to do this so I don't do it upside down. This way. Sometimes you gotta be flexible. You might want to have a friend help you dress. This, like I said, has a slider, so I gotta adjust it because it's a little tight. And make sure it's not twisted anywhere. Twisted. Yeah, it's twisted. Well, now you're upside down. That's not what I wanted either. Really? I thought I did this right side up. Twist it one more time the right way. Okay. All right, so that's just on there. I'm gonna snug it up so it doesn't slip. I just literally wrap this around me. Okay, that's it. And can do that. I didn't, here we go. I didn't have to tie any knots. I didn't have to make it complicated. That is completely dressed. I know that a lot of people don't, know about these knots. They're the simple ones. They're a really big fad right now in Japan. There are still trends in kimono fashion, so it's important to note that it's still a live and growing fashion. So, yeah, that didn't take a lot of effort. You could just use like a belt, just regular ass belt, skinny belt that fits over this. This is quite bulky, so you need to make sure it fits over this. Or you could just get a piece of ribbon and tie it. Don't need to make this complicated. I'm trying to make this, no barrier to entry. People can figure out how to do this fashion without struggling, because I know a lot of people get stressed out about the kimono dressing. I'm going to demonstrate the typical bow that everyone thinks about. You got to give me 1 second, though. I forgot to bring a hair tie, which is the secret to making it look really good, and it's really easy to do. 1 second. Okay. Shout out to my friend Diner in the comments. He bought me like a giant thing of elastic hairbands right before this, so I knew where they were. Undo this. Oh my god, I'll loosen it. So it was really snug. So this is the like classic obi tie that everyone thinks about when they think about festival yukata stuff. All right, so we'll go back to basics here. Doesn't really matter. You can also get it's called an obi clip, and it's just literally like a chip clip, and you can hold it here without having to worry about this slipping off your shoulder. But you want to get like a good length. I like to have it like a little bit over my shoulder, but you can get like just a little bit. It's actually plenty. So I'll do a little bit shorter for an example. And then when you go to wrap around your body, you want to make a nice triangle arrow shape. Let me get this going. Triangle. shape. All right, so you can see how it's nice and angled as you wrap around, and I'm gonna step over it. Oh boy. Okay. Wrap around again. And again, grab the bottommost layer and snug. I'm going to go long end over short. I just pull this guy to the middle once I'm like at the end here. Long end over short. Just tie a basic, and then single knot. Don't double it up. All right, good to go. Now, this is the part that I think people maybe struggle with a little bit. Is you take this guy and you just make some pretty loops. What does that mean? All right, so you usually want to make it about like maybe shoulder width or hip width, they say. So this is just what it looks like on the other side. I'm just making literal a loop. Make another loop. Just make some nice loops. And you make it short enough. That's a big key part. Ziggy zaggy. This is actually going to have an extra ear because I made this so long. And if you want to go like have like the red side showing too, totally okay. Let's mix it up a little bit. So red side, dark side, beep beep. Red side, why not? Or we can, yeah, let's just do that. Okay, you try and make them as even as possible. Like this one in the middle is a little short, but that's okay. Okay, here's that part that I was talking about that is key that a lot of people don't know about. Scrunch this guy in the middle, grab your hair bow or hairpin. Ta-da! Now you can worry about how cute this looks or doesn't. Now you can take your bow ends and like make them pretty. Now you can mess with it when you're not stressing out about holding it. And then you can take this guy, you can fold it in half, the whole length, and go over it and like under your knot. I don't know why did that have that stay in half. And again, and then tuck that part into the back. Hook. Oh, look, it's a bow that everyone's very familiar with. Yeah, this got a little short, so I'm gonna scooch it over. And yeah, you can mess with it now that it's like in an elastic. You don't have to worry or stress about it. It's so much easier to like manage and mess with if it's like this. Let's pull that guy in the middle. Nobody needs to see you. There you go, the very classic, like, what the pre-tied OB ends up looking like a lot. I think it's called a chocho or a butterfly. This would be. There you go. The hair tie makes like life so much easier, I swear to God. A lot of the ones that I'm like, that's hard. I'm like, I just throw a little hair tie in there and it makes life infinitely easier. So like that's your hack for this thing. There you go, your classic bow that everyone thinks of when they think of like, obon or wearing matsuri. And again, just turn it around. Boop. And it should be in the back. But the other one I showed you where you just wrap it around yourself is so good for you're trying to drive. So you're not got this behind you while you're trying to drive or you're trying to travel someplace. Oh my God, it's the worst having this thing in your back. You're like sitting like ramrod straight. So if you have to travel at all, I highly recommend just the wrap around twice and put a thing on top. It makes it a lot easier. But this is what everyone thinks of when they think of summer kitsuge. There's a lot of like new styles that I could show you at some other time, but I don't know, we're almost out of time here, so I just wanted to show you something easy today. So yeah, thanks guys so much. Then this is really short. It was a really short panel. So like, get it done. I don't think there's any time between panels that I know about, so I think we're gonna have to cut it short and end it here. But I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for dropping by. I hope that was educational and informative and easy for you. I try to make this easy because I know a lot of people get stressed out being like, how do I try the thing? I hope it was like made it really simple. So thanks guys so much. I had a great time. I will see you next time.